Hi there, and welcome to this week's episode of We Read It One Night, a romance podcast where we answer all your questions about fairy smut. In this week's episode, we're continuing our journey into Sarah J. Maas's ACOTAR universe with fan favorite of Court of Mist and Fury. In part one on this book, we're asking the important questions like, is there a fairy stock market? Does Rhys's mountain palace have invisible walls to stop people from falling off? How do you count the number of steps in a staircase? And more. So drop us a rating and review while you're listening and enjoy the show. A week and a half ago, I went to this networking event at the local big theater because got me a free ticket to a show and there was free food and my friend asked me to come. So I was like, okay, fine. Yeah. And I met this woman there who owns a dance studio and may be listening to this. I don't know. She told me she followed the podcast on Spotify,
wow,
when I told her about it. So hello. She owns a dance studio, but that's not that's not the important part of the story. The important part of the story is in the middle of the conversation, she casually drops that she's training in competitive ballroom dancing in Milan. And I was like, Absolutely. What a story. But then it gets better. It gets better. Okay. She's training. She took a ballroom dance class in Milan when she went there on vacation. And there was this man there. And this man is the ballroom dance champion of Italy. He's the dance champion of Italy. And they're competing in Paris this August. And the dance champion of Italy is gay, but he does have a twin brother who's not gay. And I already wrote this romance novel in my head. And I was
perfect.
I may never write this, but if someone hears this story and would like even just a Hallmark movie, she's yeah, he's casually just that he's the dance champion of Italy.
Yeah, of course. That's really funny. Wait, so is she dating him?
No, she's not. They're training together.
Oh, okay. Wait, but not with the twin.
No,
has she met the twin?
The dance champion of Italy is gay, but has a twin.
Yes.
Who is not gay.
Yes.
So I was like, get to the twin.
Well, yeah,
ballroom dance. Then I was like, listen, what it's going to go is you're going to get to Paris for the the worldwide ballroom dance championships. Mm-hmm. And your partner is going to break his leg. Sadly, he's going to get hit by a cab. And then his twin brother will have to step in. And that's how you'll fall in love.
You'll fool the people. It's giving Lizzie McGuire. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Are they identical?
I don't know. I assume so. I pitched this whole story to her and she didn't mention that they weren't identical. So I'm assuming they were. They are.
I guess if no one knows what the person looks like, then you can impersonate them even if they're not. He's not a dancer at all.
He's the dance champion of Italy.
What does that mean?
So he would be well known.
Wait, I'm sorry. What is that?
I don't
the dance
know.
Champion
I don't
Italy?
know. That's what she called it. And it was just really fun.
Okay. So you're writing this book?
No. I'm giving it up. It's up for grabs to any of our listeners who are feeling inspired. If you write it, please send it to me.
I realized how easy telehealth is for everything. Have you ever used it for urgent care type for I don't know what you would have needed, but
no, I've called poison control before. They were very unhelpful.
Absolutely. So today we're doing A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas.
I don't know. We figured
it out. I know. We got to the bottom of it last time.
I don't know. No, we agreed that people said both last time is what we agreed on.
Did we? Okay. I thought I thought I was wrong. Whatever I thought ended up being wrong.
I finally learned the acronyms of ACOTAR, that. You know how the ACOTAR, it's ACOTAR, this one's ACOMAF, the next one's ACO War. Mm-hmm. I was like, war? Oh, it's Wings and Ruin. So I was like, oh, it's because they have a war in the third book. So that one's war. And then by process of elimination, this is math. And it really took me a long time.
Did it really? I only know, I definitely know ACOTAR and ACOMAF. That for some reason it's it firmly in my head, but I couldn't even tell you what the third one's called right now.
Court of Wings and Ruin. I just said 30 seconds ago.
No, I know, but I couldn't even tell you and war is just gonna make war does that is a good way to remember it for sure.
Yeah.
I kept thinking like in the beginning, I was like, is there a war coming in this book? Like, I don't know, somehow. Like I knew there
They
wasn't.
spend this whole book talking about how there's a war coming.
No, I know. I just didn't remember like when it actually happened though.
Yeah. This one is the fandom favorite, I would say. This is the second book.
Yeah.
And it's yet to be surpassed, I think,
How many
for most people.
Wait, are there still more?
There's still, the series isn't over yet. But I said this the last book, but like it seems to be she's finally fully like all her books technically take place in the same universe, but like in different worlds. And I think she's finally like doing a crossover. So in order to like understand the next ACOTAR book, I think you're gonna have to read her Crescent City series.
Right. No, because I remember you kept telling me, has that even happened? I can't even remember. You kept telling me that like from A Throne of Glass was going to be like that star across the sky. But I guess I think the problem is, I think the problem is that I didn't get far enough in Throne of Glass. Not that I didn't get far enough in this book, in this series.
Well, right? Yeah, no, the Throne of Glass things when that happens from her perspective isn't until the last book. But I did finally finish that book series.
Oh, nice.
And it was delightful. Did you like it? I think it's a lot better.
Really?
Than this year. I think it's her. I mean, I haven't read Crescent City because those books are the size of refrigerators and Audible has a monopoly on the audiobooks. So I will not be reading them anytime soon. But yeah, I think it's her best one. I think it's like far and away.
Huh.
Like the world building's just better. It's like a bigger world.
That's
and
true.
Like, I think this series is limited by the fact that it's all from like first person POV, whereas like Throne of Glass, I mean, this series is romantasy. Like it's equal parts romance and fantasy.
Right.
Whereas Throne of Glass is fantasy with a romance subplot. And it does the more traditional fantasy thing where there's like a bunch of different narrators. And like that only increases the more books you have like go on. I just liked it better. I thought the characters were more dynamic. I don't know. I like ACOTAR, but
is that a traditional fantasy thing? Does Lord of the Rings do that in the books?
Lord of the Rings is it does jump between Lord of the Rings. I think is a more like is omniscient narrator as opposed to like a close third. So like it jumps between the different perspectives in terms of like, it's like, let's catch up with what Frodo's doing. And now let's catch up with what Aragorn is doing. And like Gandalf had this thought in the middle of like Frodo's passage. Whereas, but like, you know, like Game of Thrones does the like each chapter.
No, I know. I can think of plenty of examples. I was just thinking of like, would we call it traditional? Like, is that, because that's like the OG, right?
Maybe not traditional, but common.
Sure. Okay. So this book opens up with us being stuck in Feyre's head. She's just like a traumatized little baby. Like that's
she's dreaming about stabbing herself.
Yeah, like her life
I
just
thought
sucks.
you couldn't die in dreams.
Of course,
is that world? Does that rule not exist in this world?
I think that's a myth. I think
I don't know.
To plenty of people who said they've died in dreams.
Allegedly. So they say.
Well, yeah. You're right. Maybe they're just saying it to be like edgy or whatever.
She keeps having nightmares and waking up and throwing up, and Tamlin doesn't wake up at all. They're sleeping next to each other. This woman is heaving her guts out in the bathroom, and he's like,
yeah, he like could not give a fuck. And she's like, oh, well, he must just be like also having nightmares. And it's like, I actually don't think so.
He's just, it's like he's just like, I can't deal with this. I don't have the space to deal with this. Can't handle this.
Well, yeah, or he just like wants her to be like pretty doll or whatever. Like that's how they keep saying it. And then she keeps being like, I need to like get out and like do things. And he's like, no, actually, you just need to sit in the house and I'm gonna like literally lock you in. And like she can't even paint anymore. And they're like, the townsfolk can't see you learning to fight. It'll like give the wrong message, like send the wrong impression or whatever.
And apparently the townsfolk can't see her learning to read either, because that doesn't happen until she goes to Rhys.
Yeah. She still never learns how to fucking read, which if you don't remember from the last book, like
he's illiterate.
Yeah.
Speaking of Throne of Glass, Sarah J. Maas is like, I'm going to make her the complete opposite.
Aelin
in Throne of Glass loves reading. Feyre can't even read.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not about to get any of these accusations that it's me who can't read. That even makes any sense. But it's really
I'm not Leah Michelle.
Character be illiterate. Yeah, exactly. I saw what happened to Leah Michelle. So also like bopping around in the background is Ianthe, who's like the head priestess, and she doesn't really become relevant until like later, but she's basically just like a huge suck up and like sucks.
she's got like
Not
huge
yet.
red
Feyre
flags
doesn't think
here.
that yet.
I'm gonna be honest, I completely forgot that Ianthe like pretends to be her friend at the beginning. Because the first time I read this, I got such bad vibes from this woman, like from the beginning, even before I knew that she like was gonna be evil. And so I think I just like in my mind just so like solidly from the beginning placed her in the evil category that like when I read this I like completely forgot that they're supposed to be friends at the beginning, and like Feyre is supposed to like genuinely like rely on her and like her. Well, you know what I mean?
Well, right.
Well, because she's like, traumatized and abused and sad. Yeah. You know what I think is super funny though? The little detail that Feyre is clumsier as a fae because of her new long limbs. Her like limbs are slightly long.
Is it that she's clumsier relative to how she used to be, or clumsier relative to like
no, that she's super clumsy. Like she's like, I wasn't clumsy before and I am now super clumsy. And honestly, I feel like this is a detail that is woefully left out of most fan art of this series. Like Feyre as a fairy versus a human is just like, I don't know, she has pointy ears and like her skin is a little clearer, and that's usually like the only difference. But like, where are her longer limbs? I want this woman to have disproportionate limbs, because that seems to be like, she doesn't say she got taller. She just says her limbs got longer.
Well, she's still gonna get. Do you mean her like upper body got proportionally squished?
I don't know. Her like proportionally Feyre is off, is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, like, she would get taller if her legs got longer, but her her like torso stayed the same, right?
Maybe her torso didn't stay the same. I don't know.
Oh my god!
Why aren't fairies are freaks? I feel like more people need to like embrace this instead of just making them like hot with pointy ears.
Yeah, like especially because like, well, I feel like you're lured in because the high fae are like we're described like the lesser fairies are described as is like more, I don't know, like less human, and then like the high fae are like closer, but just with pointy ears. But I feel like that just like tricks you into thinking that they're like totally okay.
Yeah, and all the main characters are like human looking, even when they're not high fae. She very conveniently is like, oh, don't worry. Look, not everyone's a high fae, but the ones that are still look human. They just have wings, so it's all good. It's all cool.
So yeah, everyone's like treating Feyre awfully. They're like trapping her in. Even Lucian's being like a total snake, and like
he's such a fake ass friend.
Yeah,
but also Feyre, an abuse victim.
Yeah, but like totally loyal to Tamlin. Tamlin at one point is like, "There's no such thing as a high lady. Like log that away." Because she's like, "I'm not Tamlin's mate, as far as I know."
No. They also forget to celebrate her birthday, which just so happens to be on the winter solstice, which is the shortest day of the year. Like it's the longest night, the winter solstice. Like, oh, how convenient. She was born on the longest night of the year. Oh, that's called foreshadowing.
Yeah, Rhys is like,
but he doesn't know her birthday, so don't celebrate it. She's like, I didn't bring it up. Like everyone's already.
No, but later on, he's like, were you really born on the winter solstice?
He's like, that's what a gag.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it wouldn't be the same day every whatever. Yeah, so basically, like everyone's she's like going crazy. And then they have Lucian's like boldly defending Tamlin and like telling her to like quote unquote be patient. And Tamlin's like, I just need you to be safe, like for my peace of mind. And then they have the tithe, which like,
oh my god,
really? I know like all ruling people like throughout all of history, it's basically just the mafia. But Tamlin is explicitly like, it's really as funny how explicit they are. They're like, yeah, like in exchange for giving me a bunch of their money, I protect them like from myself, but like right.
I know he's like, listen, I know that like literally we're all semi-immortal, right? We all have very long lives.
Yes.
So 2 months to us is nothing. And I know that only 2 months ago we escaped an evil dictator who had been terrorizing our land for 50 years. But we gotta get back to normal, guys. Like we can't just fuck around. This is the only way to return normalcy is you paying me a shit ton of money, even though all of your lands were like burned and all of your
also like I think the implication is that it's just like shitty that he does it that like there's no reason for him to do it that way. It's not like a requirement of the High Lords. Like because there's many ways to like collect taxes. And like it could be based on like economic activity. It could be based on like sales or whatever. Not an income tax that like there's no withholding, because like right, imagine, I mean that's why we have withholding, because people like aren't very good at I mean, also because the government wants their money earlier, but like, you know what I mean? Like his is basically like a wealth tax, which I know some people push for, like for like, it would make sense for like really rich people, like wealthy people. But like for most people, like that could be like a huge burden if you're not, because it's not based on how much you're bringing in, you know?
Yeah.
That's why we have an income tax instead of like a progressive income tax instead of a wealth tax.
Tamlin's whole personality is like, I never wanted to be High Lord, and so therefore I am not going to try to improve myself as a High Lord, and I'm just going to keep doing the things the way everybody else has been doing them for thousands of years, even if they suck.
Like zero compassion. And so like there's this like water wraith that like can't afford, and she's like, we're gonna starve. And Feyre's like basically like goes and helps her, and she tells Tamlin like, I know what it's like to be starving. And he's like, you're right. I never thought of that before. Like I thought she was just being greedy. Like, dude, you're the one who is greedy.
She gives the water wraith like one of her necklaces to like pay, and the water wraith is like, I owe you a favor now, so remember that. She's like, I'll never forget your kindness. But Tamlin's like, oh wow, I didn't know about you being starving, but also you embarrassed me, and don't ever fucking do that again. You absolute worst. And I just want to point out that if they don't pay the tithe, like if like the water wraiths have like a week to like come up with the money if like they don't have it on the day of the tithe. But after that, Tamlin has, quote, the sacred right to hunt them down.
Yeah, like ritual hunting rights or whatever. Yeah, sacred hunting rights. They might
as well just carve "We're the baddies" on their foreheads and like be done with it. Like, where's the ritual tattooing of like whatever the fairy like baddie symbol is?
Why are there skulls that are on these shirts?
Why
skulls? Yeah, are we the baddies? I know, it's just like really fucking
Meanwhile, Feyre has a sick nickname. She gets to be the curse breaker. That's her thing because she did break the curse.
It's true.
And she like tries to use that as a like, well, I should be allowed to go outside because like I'm this like symbol of hope, blah, 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 blah. And Lucian's like, actually, you're just a reminder of this really shitty thing that you went through. Like, I know that you literally died. Like, you died fully, but you still suck. Like, everyone hates you.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And then everyone else is like congratulating her. Like these two fairies, they're having like a party. Like these two fairies come up to her and are like, hey, you know, that battle against the Midgard worm, that was so sick, bro. Like, I like how you made that trap. And Feyre is like, they like.
Yeah, I know. And she's like, I can't handle this. And so then they're planning their wedding. And she's like, the one thing I don't want is the color red. And then there's like fucking red roses everywhere that Ianthe like,
yeah. Because she thinks it's blood. She's like, oh my God. It's,
reminds her of blood.
And I do want to point out that Feyre is dressed like Glinda the Good right now. Like she's like in the most ridiculous dress. And Tamlin has already seen the dress. And when Tamlin first saw her in the dress, he just started laughing.
I know.
And I'm like, sir.
I know.
She should just break up with him for that. Like that should have been the straw that broke the camel's back.
Right. Like, what's the reasoning for her? She doesn't even want to be wearing it. Yeah.
She just doesn't want to. She's just going along for the ride. She just like doesn't give a shit about anything anymore. About the petals, I can't figure out whether I always wonder like whether Ianthe did that on purpose, like for whatever reason to like it's just like drive a wedge.
Maybe I was thinking that, but I feel like it could just be like a complete disregard for like what I had that thought too.
Guess, but Ianthe's like very calculating. I feel like she wouldn't have like she's pumping Feyre for information this whole time about her siblings. Like she's playing the long game.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, like weaknesses against her. Maybe it was like a test to see how it would affect her.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that.
Ianthe is like, Feyre, like, be careful what you tell people because anything can be used against you. And I'm just like, again, are we the bad? Like, just big neon sign across her head.
Well, I mean, that is good advice in this world.
I know, but like she's like, now anyway, tell me your entire life story. Thanks.
Yeah. No, she's just because she wasn't going to invite the family to the wedding or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Well, Ianthe doesn't want to drive a wedge, I don't think. So either like it's just she would like, well, red is like the best color, so I don't fucking care if it affects Feyre, or like, I don't know. What do you think it's like that she wanted? Like, what would be the purpose of like?
Well, to weaken Tamlin's court.
Okay, yeah.
Because she's, I guess, the big baddie of this book is Highbird. And she's like already kind of working with Highbird. Which, by the way, like I saw this post that was talking about how Prythian, which is like this land, is it's basically like England and Scotland. Like that's what the map looks like.
Right. The Scotland people are
And
bad.
Highburn is like no. And then Highburn is like an island off the coast. So like Ireland. And like when you think about Highburn in the context of being Ireland, like invading the English, I'm kind of on his side.
I know. Well, but like, why would Scotland invade the English? Like, I feel like Scotland's whole Scotland maintains
Ireland.
Yeah, whatever. I feel like they maintain the high ground by saying we're the conquered. You don't like gain that by then turning around and doing the conquering. It is bold to have like them be the ones doing the conquering, though.
They're invading England and Scotland. Scotland is like the Night Court.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, she really leaned in. I mean, this is pretty common. It's like, God, what the fuck is the Casbrecker? What book series is that?
Six of Crows.
Yeah, it's like Six of Crows, where she just really leaned into like just real places and like naming them exactly those places.
Amsterdam, Amsterdam.
Like, yeah, like the summer court is like their capital is Adriata, and then it's like literally the Adriatic coast.
Yeah. No. And like they're all like tan and like it's like something like woohoo. You know, she really doesn't hide.
What's Rhys's city called? I'm blanking. Does that sound Scottish?
Oh fuck.
And Rhys's name.
It's the city of starlight. Shit. Valaris.
That doesn't
Valaris, the city of starlight.
It's a good name though.
That's probably something in Latin. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's like a star. I can't picture it during the daytime at all. It's just constantly a star in my head.
All the fan art of it is like, I think people just use like different angles of like the same like ski town in the Swiss Alps. You know, there's like one place that like everyone's always like, yeah, that's Valaris. Valaris.
Yeah, and that is not how I picture it. I guess there are mountains, but I didn't think the mountains were like that tall or whatever.
No, there's supposed to be like 3 big mountains.
Oh, like actually big?
Yeah, like 3 really big mountains. Well, they're like important. Rhys has them on his knees, like tattooed.
Absolutely. No, I know. I just like in my head, they're like not like they're mountains in the way that like Phoenix is surrounded by mountains, ostensibly. Not
those
and
are
less
big now.
Well, no, but I just mean compared to like a ski town or like mountains that would be in like Colorado or like the Swiss Alps. Like those are like snow-capped mountains. I'm not picturing snow-capped mountains for whatever reason. That could be completely boldly like that could be in conflict with the text. I'm not sure, but
it's definitely cold there. I don't know, because like they're in the mountains and she's like, it doesn't spring ever come here anyway. Oh, I forgot to mention their whole time they're like, when's Rhys gonna call in his bargain? Like, because like he hasn't. It's been 2 months. And Feyre at one point is looking at the tattooed eye on her hand and she's like, it is calm and cunning as a cat.
Yeah. No, there's a bunch of things like that. I feel like the cat, Okay, so basically it's her fucking wedding. She's like freaking out about the red and she's like, I can't do this. I'm gonna have to call off the wedding. I'm freaking out. And that is when Rhys appears and decides to call in the bargain. And basically everyone's like, no, don't do it. And Rhys is like, sorry, not my fault. I'm just the messenger. I'm not a messenger boy. I'm a delivery boy.
And then he picks Feyre up and he magics her away
to the night court.
He comes because he's hearing in her head that she's like, I don't want to do this.
She's like, help.
And
rescue.
I'm like, honestly, how much of the conflict, the entire conflict of this book could have been avoided if he had just waited 10 seconds for her to say no out loud in front of all the witnesses.
Well, maybe. Unclear, because like what I've gotten up to is they're at the summer court and the princess or whatever, like the sister is like, you're his bride. So like I'm unclear if that ever ends unless Tamlin says no. I guess you're right. You're right that maybe Tamlin would have been more likely to take no for an answer. Like maybe if she actually,
and it would have been in front of all the witnesses as opposed to like her just getting kidnapped in front of all the witnesses.
You're right. And like maybe people wouldn't have cared if she said no. You know what I mean? Like the only difference I think would be if Tamlin cared. Like,
yeah. Well, Tamlin's just a wee little baby. Lad.
Yeah, he sucks, but like
a little baby boy.
Well, yeah, but like everyone, unclear if anyone else would have like cared about her.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm just imagining on the other side, like Rhys, like we learn later that like Rhys was preparing to get drunk like on the day of her wedding. And so I'm just imagining that like he's like sitting with his BFFs, Azriel and Cassian, who we'll meet soon. And they have like 20 bottles of liquor around them. Like, I'm imagining them only half dressed. They're ready to start like pouring it down their throats. And then he hears this in Feyre's head and he's like, shh, just like running around, like trying to put his pants on, falling over, and then like
just
like slicking back his hair and then like popping and be like, hello, Feyre, darling. Like,
yeah, I just don't understand why he was gonna like let it get to that. Yeah, I get, yeah. Like he had to like, yeah, but like, why was he gonna let it get to that point without like giving everyone else all the information, or like at least Feyre all the information?
A little dumb boy. He's a little dumb martyr.
Like, there's no like
self-martyring boy.
There's no like fairy divorce.
No, there's not. That's the thing. It's pretty bold of them to be like, to create like these no fairy divorce when they're literally immortal.
I know. No, there's so many things that don't make sense. Like, I know I've already like gone on. I'll go back to it later, but like the whole like puberty thing makes no fucking sense. Like,
no,
I don't know.
No.
Okay, so Rhys like rescues / kidnaps her. Yeah,
they pop into like his magic, his not Valaris, his little like tower. And why are you smiling?
I just look at some of my notes.
You're just smiling.
Yeah.
Do you have something funny? Like,
no, I will. It's to come. Don't forget. Okay. Just keep going.
They just pop. I just want to point out that she gets there and she's like, wow, it smells so good. It smells like jasmine. And I'm just imagining Moore, who's like Rhys's cousin, like walking around with like essential oil sticks, just like burning them all like in preparation. Rhys is like, all right, Moore, I'm going, like, clean up, please. And like, she's like, woo.
Yeah, like calling in the cavalry. She says, so she sees Moore, the cousin, and her thought is like, if Rhys was the most beautiful male I'd ever seen, she was his female equivalent. I'm like, absolutely, like, by Feyre. I like how Feyre never questions. Like, she's like, obviously, yeah, Rhys is like obviously the best looking, objectively, he's like the best looking man I've ever seen. Like, obviously not Tamlin, but like,
yeah, fuck Tamlin.
Like, but also Moore, like, yeah.
And so anyway, she's like, how dare you? How dare you? Could that be? And she throws both shoes at him. Mm-hmm. And the first one, like, Rhys dodges and the other one hits him in the head. And he's like, oh, don't do that again, or I just might fall in love with you. But he's been like, I literally saw you throwing up every night. It was really inconvenient for me. So like, let's simmer down here.
Yeah.
And
she's like, what do you want from me? And he's like, I want you to learn how to read. God. And then he's like,
please, for the love of God.
Yeah. I don't know when he pitches like her. Oh, so another thing that's been brewing here is that she has powers. Like, she's gotten like a drop of power from all of the High Lords that like brought her back to life. And Tamlin and crew were like, no, it's too dangerous for you to learn how to use them. Like, it'll send the wrong message and also like put a target on your back because they'll all want to come kill you to get their power back or whatever.
Yeah.
And Rhys is like, no, you need to fucking train for this and like help me. He's like, take a week, like ask Tamlin and whatever.
Yeah, he offers her the chance to work with him. But at first he's like, war is coming. And she immediately thinks it's him like preparing to declare war on the rest of she's like, please don't do that. Please don't
start a war.
Are you fucking kidding?
Yeah.
Like, I can't. And Feyre's walking around dressed like a fucking genie because apparently that's the night court like garb, is like midriff bearing like silk flowy clothes. And she's sitting on top of this castle which is open to the air, and like this castle sounds beautiful, this palace,
but
no like
windows.
It also sounds so fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I would be like pressing against the far wall the entire time I was in there.
I know. And I was thinking it'd be cold, but like good thing they have like, I'm really glad she specifies that like the magic keeps it warm like at all times.
Yeah. Keeps
like,
it, like,
even in the city, even though it's like winter all the time or whatever, it's like still like breathe balmy. Yeah.
But two more things with clothes is, one, Feyre's undergarments for her wedding were specifically designed for Tamlin to rip off. And honestly, I love that. She specifically is like they were made like not to be removed gently. And I was like, I love a good undergarment ripping. I don't care who's doing it. If it's tampon, if it's Rhys. I love this detail. And then Rhys also is walking, like, she comes down to breakfast the next day and Rhys has like his top button unbuttoned. And I just feel like I'm imagining at least 30 minutes in the mirror of him like trying to like decide how much skin to expose. Like, I'd just be like, what, one button, two, no, do we do it all the way up to the
is that too much hair? Yeah, no, I really like, he's just like a dandy at heart.
He really is. He's a
20th
Beau Brummel
century,
type.
21st century dandy.
Dandy.
13th century dandy. So yeah, she just basically hangs out there for a week.
And learns how to write. And she has
A
to
little
write Rhys
bit.
is like the hottest High Lord. Rhys is like the best High Lord.
Yeah.
Which is funny. But also
Mhm.
it doesn't really help her learn the alphabet because it's like the same letters. Like why isn't he having her write a quick brown fox jumped over the whatever, like log?
Yeah. I mean, at least she like shares 2 letters with his name and her name. So like that's helpful.
That's true. It's true.
And like she doesn't really see more that whole week. And then at the end, like Rhys brings it up or something. Or like she brings it up. She's like, I didn't see her or whatever. And he was like, well, she was waiting for an invitation. Like she didn't want to like bother you. It's like, oh.
He's like, she's respecting your boundaries.
For me. And she's like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. We also learned that someone's attacking the priestesses / temples.
Yes. Like a bunch of people have been killed, including like kids, which is like a big deal here because the kids are so rare and age so slowly. And yet still somehow.
But also there's this part later on where Rhys is very much like fucked up kids. And like we'll talk about it with the Court of Nightmares. Rhys is like, yes, the children in Valaris can be happy and they're laughing in the street, but fuck the kids in the Court of Nightmares. Like we don't really like screw them. They get to grow up in the horrible place like hell.
Yeah.
They're not born evil, Rachel. That's not how that works.
Well, I know. What is he going to do? Like steal them from their parents?
He just doesn't even try. Like his whole MO with like the Night Court and like his like persona is just like, it feels silly. It feels like it does more harm than good. I don't know.
Do the Night Court people even know about Valaris?
No.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah. Like, what if like Moore was nice? Like, what about Moore, the one who was like bored? You know what I mean? What if there are more people like Moore?
Yeah, maybe he tries to like save some of them.
I don't know.
I mean, he does very much say like he does like openly. It's not just the Night Court; it's like the rest of the world. He's like, yeah, I had to like it was either this or nothing. So
I
it's
understand.
like I picked something instead of nothing. Yeah, you're saying he should have just like fought back more.
He should have just stopped. No, he just should have just stopped the Night Court, like the Court of Nightmares. He should have been like, we're not going to do that anymore. We're not going to do it. Thanks.
Well, yeah, but it was like just like you're thinking of him as like having all the power. But I think it was like a balancing act of like not having the other people like rebel.
I don't know. I do like the fact that both Rhys and Tamlin like repress their beast forms. Rhys's beast form, like we never really get it. Like it's kind of just like him, but with claws and like wings.
Do they always get beast forms? I thought that
yes,
was
all the High Lords.
Power.
No, Tamlin can transform, but all the High Lords have like a beast form or have like a super aesthetic form in terms of like being the aesthetic of their court.
So what is special about Tamlin's power then? Because that's his only like special power, I thought.
I think his is like full on beast, whereas Rhys is just like he has wings and then
Rhys
like
just had wings because he was Illyrian.
No, but he also like at some point he like his power flares and he's like emotionally like steamed up or something, and then like Feyre is like, and there were like shadows that like formed like talons or like something. At some point he like goes in beast mode, and I think I think it's interesting that they both repress their beast forms, and I would like the Tamlin and Rhys get therapy to be part of Tamlin's redemption arc. Is what I'm saying. This is why I bring this up.
I feel like it's worse for Tamlin, and Tamlin's not very good at it.
No,
because,
for
like,
sure.
So Feyre finally goes back, like after her 2 weeks or whatever, and which is a really long time. Like,
no, 1 week. It's 1 week a month.
I thought it was 2 weeks.
She's there. No, it was originally 2 weeks a month, and they negotiated it down to 1,
which is like a lot. It really is a lot.
I mean, it should be. She's like starving to death.
No, I know. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, like, I remember when she originally made the bargain, I was like, holy, that's like half your time. Like, I mean, I know 1 week is a quarter, whatever. Yeah, she goes back and Tamlin has like trashed the study, like totally just thrown a temper tantrum.
Oh my God.
And then he's like, I missed you, but I need to ask you some questions. Yeah. And then like grills her for information, which like does make sense. Like this is actually his first like good move as a leader. Like he should be. That does make sense. Like use her for recon.
But Feyre's first like, hey, can we like cuddle and like reconnect? And he's like, no, I gotta go you for spy information. He also, his first instinct when she gets there is to check her for injuries, but not in like a cute way, in a like in
me
a
rape you.
in a like did he touch what's mine way? Like not are you injured, but is my property
yeah
been despoiled?
And then she like tells them the information, but she's like, oh, I just feel so grimy. Like it feels like I'm just covered in mud. Like it's just yeah. It's like,
And very smartly of Rhys is that he like in his like study he had like a big map, but he like very purposely did not show her the map that has like any of the night court shit like labeled.
Yeah.
He's like,
he
like
definitely doesn't let her
like
in this like, but like this first time.
Yeah. Also at one point he's talking when he's telling her about Moore. I forgot to bring up. He's like, Moore is my only family left. Like all of my family is dead. And Feyre's like, well, I would feel bad for you, but you killed Tampon's family. So.
Yeah, that's like something she keeps like repressing in the back of her head when she's like starting to like Rhys.
He did.
Right.
Technically, he did.
Right. But like she doesn't. Yeah. Like she just kind of represses it instead of thinking like maybe that's not the full story. Sorry, something I know I was just saying that she boldly does the like place name thing, but like really that doesn't hold true with Rhys because Scotland and then there's like the Illyrians, which like I was just trying to look up if there's like some connection. Like that's like Greece and like the Balkans. And I was trying to see if there was any connection to like Scotland. Like you know how sometimes like there's like some group of like Slavic. Yeah, and like this is like there's like a Quora. Does Scotland have any relationship with Illyria and now Albanians? From Albania and Kosovo. No. Yes, it does, and it's crazy. Scotland used to be called Albany/Albania.
Oh, Albany, the Duke of Albany. That's in Shakespeare and King Lear.
Yeah. So I wonder if there's like something there that's interesting, or maybe she just committed. She was like, on the map, it's going to be Scotland, but like I like these are good fucking place names, and I'm going to use them.
The Illyrians are also supposed to be like. You know, like dark skin, like they're, you know, like there's like a certain exotic.
Well, right. So I wonder if it's like,
I
just wonder if there's some tie in like real life, like if she decided to like, you know, like versus like the Celts, but like
she's just like looking at a map of ancient Greece, and she's like, that's sick.
Well, yeah, but like that, but like you know what I'm saying, ancient Greece to like Scotland.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
I don't know. She has, you know what I learned? She has a degree. She was like a double major in religious studies and English. So like she has like, I think she includes a lot of like, it's not really related to like the ancient Greece thing, but I think there's just like a lot of like of that kind of like subtlety that I don't think most people like notice.
Yeah, but she's been writing since a lot before college, I thought. At least like front of class. It was like when she was like 16, right? Yeah. No, and I think it's not uncommon. Like a lot of authors do that kind of thing. I was just like trying to figure out the connection or like maybe, or like, again, totally respect if you're just going to like if anything, I was thinking it's like kind of the easy way out to just based off of real places. I guess it's also the easy way out to just like mix and match real places, but like but you know, I mean, either way, it's like fine. I was just wondering. So Feyre's back and she like immediately slips back into like not eating and like being super fucking depressed and like basically
she's like, hey, Tampon, can you teach me how to use my powers? And he's like, so I knew about your powers and I actually like purposefully didn't tell you about them because and I don't think that you should learn them. And she like agrees with him. And then like she gets like gaslit into like going along with him and being like, yeah, like fine, okay, it's actually dangerous. Like I won't do my powers. But every time for the next 3 weeks that Feyre feels like a glimmer of self-respect, like anytime like she slips right back into like her like depression mode. But like there's like moments when she's like, oh, do I deserve better? And every time this happens, she's like, did Rhys alter my mind when I was with him?
I know. Yeah. She's like, is he making me think these dangerous thoughts or whatever? Which like kind of
dangerous thoughts, which is that I deserve to be treated like a person.
Right. Yeah. So this is when the tide shit happens and it's just like further like emphasizing what a dick Tamlin is. He's like, I'm not going to give handouts.
He's acting like Yzma. He's like, well, you should have thought of that before you became peasants.
Right,
like,
right.
What are you out of? Food?
Well, you should have thought. Yeah, right. Like,
you should have thought of that before you became peasants.
Yes. And so like at one point, Feyre accidentally uses her power that she got from Rhys, which is like the mind shit. And she goes into Lucia's mind, which is just like, quote, really sad, like endlessly sad.
And she's freaked out.
Yeah.
I also want to say when she gives the jewels to the water wraiths, Lucian reacts like the way that people, like when you give like a homeless person $5 and they're like, why would you do that? Like they're just going to use it for drugs. Like that, he reacts the same way.
No, I know. Yeah, he
Shit.
sucks. Yeah, and Tamlin too. He's like that gluttonous fairy or whatever. So Tamlin, after the fairy thing, like he like goes off on her and like explodes in her room, and like she has like a shield bubble around her, like everything around her gets destroyed. And at first she's like, "Oh, he shielded me, like so nice," and then she realizes that she actually made the shield. It's like what she would have like gotten like really hurt or something. I don't know.
She's telling, this is the first time that she's honest with him. She's like, hey, Tamlin, you can't just, because he just keeps giving her paint and being like, do this instead of therapy. And she's finding like, bro, like I am dying and you like smothering me is not helping me. Like I need you to do something different. And his reaction is to literally blow up the entire study, which was also his reaction when Rhys took her the first time, was to blow up the entire study.
Yeah. And he's like mad that he's making her sad. Yeah.
And so she finally, like, they're like weird with each other, but then
like things are ostensibly getting better, but then Rhys comes back to get her. And he's like, Feyre, are you low on food here? Like, do you guys need some food? You know, I have extra. Like I got stores. You guys hungry?
So fast. But she weighs like 90 pounds.
I know.
Like,
yeah. Like
oh God.
Yeah. She just stops eating as soon as she gets back there. Yeah. And so like she goes back, she hangs out for another week or whatever. So when Rhys comes back to get her, like she has the thought, like Rhys is obviously, or sorry, Tamlin's like obviously really aggressive with Rhys, and just Feyre has the thought, like if Tamlin's like teeth had been inches from my throat, I would have like panicked. And Rhys is like, no, you wouldn't. As far as your memory serves me, the last time Tamlin's teeth were inches from your throat, you slapped him across the face. Tamlin obviously doesn't like that.
Back. Like
she bit. What do you mean?
I think she bites him back or like something. Maybe
that
not.
was like right a second ago. Yeah. And so like they're doing like a little bit quote unquote better, but like not really. And she's like, yeah, it's like it was never the right time for this conversation or that conversation. It's like I don't have the energy anymore. It's like once things become too difficult. Yeah. And she's like, actually going back to that like nice mountaintop castle seems a little better than just like hiding in the library here.
Yeah. And the whole time she's just like, Rhys is fucking with my mind. That's definitely it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not healing.
Yeah. And then like, so she like hangs out and like learns to read and whatever for another like week, and then comes back, which I forgot that she comes back a second time to Tamlin. And like this time Tamlin's like totally done, like not fucking around, like doesn't give her any freedom, just like has literally guards 100% of the time, no more concessions, whatever. And like, and
then eventually they're going to go out and like hunt. They're going to go out to the border or whatever. And she's like, I want to come. Like, don't lock me in here.
And Lucien like notices, but doesn't care. Yeah. Depends on what she notices.
And Tamlin is like, he like uses his own PTSD against her own PTSD against her, she's where like, he's like, you're like, you're gonna, well, he uses both. He uses her PTSD against her to be like, you're just going to freak out in battle. And then he uses his PTSD against her because he's like, you died last time. I don't want that happening again. And then also his decision not to train her. He's like, well, you haven't been trained, so you can't come with us. And she's like, my dude, my guy,
this is your fault. You're the reason. It's you. You're the problem. It's you.
You're the problem. It's you.
Right. Yeah. God. And basically like, yeah, like literally such a blow up, like won't even let her out of the house.
Yeah. She's like, I'm coming. And she's about to like storm out the house. And then she hits a like invisible wall. And basically he's made it so that she's the only one, like everyone else can go in or out except for her in the house. And Feyre understandably freaks out because she's like, I'm trapped. And everyone's like, you're trapped. You're trapped. You're trapped. And then she like melts her engagement ring and like is in a cocoon of darkness.
Yeah. And basically like Moore shows up to get her, and Alice, who like is her maid slash servant slash friend, the only loyal person, like she literally says to Moore, she's like, please take care of her, like help her. She's like, she needs to get the fuck out of here, like this is not the place for her.
But then none of them, and I understand why Alice and like all the other servants don't tell Tamlin exactly what happened, but like none of them are like, hey, Feyre was freaking out and wanted to leave. Like they all just let him fully believe that she was kidnapped.
Well, yeah, but like
I understand why they did, but I was just like, girl, Alice.
But even once he realizes, like, he doesn't really. Oh, something else I remembered, like, Ianthe before this is like, you might not have to go back with Rhys again. Like, I have some friends I made across the sea that could like assassins to kill Rhys. And it's like, how do they not realize that she's talking about Hybern? Like, who else could she? There is no other sea. Like, right? Am I
Well,
wrong?
there's the continent. There's the continent, which is
Isn't
also
that where
across the
Highburn
sea.
is?
No, Highburn is in his own special island,
Oh,
aka
okay.
Ireland. That's why it's
Absolutely.
Ireland versus Europe. The continent is Europe.
Okay. Okay. So she goes back and like they're like, you're free, whatever. And like Rhys couldn't come in to get her because like High Lord rules or whatever. So but like he meets them in like a fucking cave or something and like takes them back. And like he's
More
like,
gets her out. More picks her up. And he's like, Moore's like, be grateful Tamlin wasn't here because I would have fucked him up.
You're high. Oh, that's what she meant. Okay. I thought it meant so she wouldn't like he wouldn't see like the powers. So like, and Rhys is like, yeah, Feyre, like, she's like, well, what will I do? Like, where will I live? And he's like, yeah, you could stay here as long as you want. Stay forever if you want to. Like, waves his hand casually.
No reason.
And it just all I could think of was like the grandma in the end of Mulan when she's like, do you want to stay for dinner? Do you want to stay forever?
Yeah, Moore's walking in totally normal, like, hey, Feyre, want to come in for dinner? And Feyre's like, and Rhys is like flapping outside the window, like, would you like to stay forever?
I know. Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Hello.
It's so and
Rhys
she's
on
like,
the
it
ceiling,
looks like he's been sitting there all night, like waiting.
He
It's
has
like right.
been
He has. He's been in your little head. And for a while, for the longest time, I was like, why doesn't the bond go both ways? And then I remember that like he has shields. So they finally go to Valaris and they go to like his townhouse. And did they go like what?
No, but he's like, I'm gonna go. You can stay here. And Feyre's like, no, don't leave me alone here. Like, I can't be alone. I may yeet myself off the palace. Like, that is a possibility. And he is like, well, Feyre, like, the thing is that I know you narked every time you go back to Tamlin. So you're gonna have to promise me that if you do decide to go back ever again, you have to promise not to narc. You can't be a rat. Don't be a rat about anything that you see. Like, I take you with me. You got to be cool. Okay. And Feyre's like, I can be cool. I can be cool. And he's like, okay. Yes.
That's bold of him to not just stay with her.
Well, he's got to, he does have, I don't really understand exactly
plans.
what High Lords do, but like, he's got responsibilities. Because that's the thing. It's like, one of the things I'm wondering, like, especially in the context of the tithe, is that like Rhys is independent, is like super rich, right? And doesn't do the tithe. And like, how does Rhys make, like, is there a faerie stock market?
No. They have sales tax, he says. He's like, the merchants pay fees on their like whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like the method of, I feel like the method, it's the difference is like the method and like what it's based on. That's why I was saying like a system where it's based on economic activity, it's based on transactions. Whereas the fairy tide, like, I don't think it mattered it obviously didn't matter like how many fish the water rates had actually caught for themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's based on, but like,
I don't know. You have to, like, everyone has to bring the same portion. I thought it was something.
So I think it is somewhat based on like wealth, but like, yeah. But like, you get what I'm saying? Dicks. Like, if you start out with like X amount of wealth and you're not making more than like every time, it's going to be less and less.
Well, I feel like he is independent. He's also independently wealthy, though. Like, Rhys is like significantly richer.
Yeah, which makes sense than Tamlin.
But like, why?
He's better at like managing money. Yeah, there could be a fairy stock market. Yeah, sure.
Like, is there a fairy stock market? Like, we know that like Rhys does trading. Like, Valaris does. They have like They have like access to a port, so like they do trading shit. But like, presumably, I've looked at the map of Prythian, and all of the courts, like, they're just stacked on top of each other. So all of the courts have access to the ocean.
Right.
You know what I mean? None of them is landlocked. So all of them could be doing trade.
Yeah, I'm sure they all do.
I mean, like, the Night Court has the biggest coast, but all of them have access to a coast.
Oh, really? It's my court. Of course they do. Absolutely. Really? Not even like Adriata?
What do you mean? Well, I guess they do like selling too, but it just seems like the Spring Court is the biggest, like entirely feudal.
Feyre's village.
The Night Court is basically the entirety of Scotland.
Why was any of it left to be the mortal lands? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. They were like, sorry for enslaving you.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. They're all like cross sections of like,
right.
UK. I mean, it makes sense. It'd be really bold for it to be landlocked, but yeah.
Yeah. But so that implies like Sarah J. Maas really seems to like making the like good guy, the like protagonist kingdom be the like super northernmost cold one. like the Night Court, and then in Throne of Glass, like Terracin is like the country they're fighting to get back, and like that's like the super cold, like they literally, the final battle takes place like in the middle of winter, and like they have to like trudge through the snow. But anyway, she really likes, for some reason she's like cold is superior, which is very Anglo-Saxon of her, honestly.
Yeah. Listen, you gotta use what you know, I guess.
Yeah. So they go to Valaris. They're in Valaris, the city of Starlight, and they're in this like sick townhouse, which sounds really cool.
Which go ahead. How does she immediately know it's a townhouse? Because she's like, they went right into it.
Maybe because there's no windows on the side. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. What were you saying?
I know, but she's like, there's children laughing outside on the street. And Rhys is like, yeah, really fucking cool. But also fuck them kids in the Night Court.
Yeah, I know you keep saying that, but like that, I don't understand how he would help the children without.
He just doesn't
going to war with their parents.
We never get any indication that he gives people in the Court of Nightmares who may be like him and more the opportunity to get out.
Yeah, but why should he have to? He could give people in other courts the opportunity, you know? Like he's basically ceding authority. Sure, but like he's like ceded authority to like, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, if we're going off of the premise that like he's just trying to save a few, then like what would he do? He would give them the opportunity and then they'd know the secret, right? I just don't know why we think he has more of an obligation to them than.
I mean, they don't have to go to Valaris. There are
like,
other
you can say there are other towns. That's only if we're like accepting this like hierarchy power structure, which is like pretty arbitrary, you know?
Sure. I don't know.
Are there other towns? But why can they do that? Why couldn't they do that on their own then?
Maybe it's hard to get out, you know? Like the only reason Moore is really able to get out is because like Rhys offers her a position.
Yeah.
But also, you know, because they try to kill her.
Right.
You know? A less dramatic version of that would be preferable. It would be nice if you didn't have to have an iron spike nailed through your stomach in order to get out.
Yikes.
Yeah, so she pops in.
Mm-hmm.
She pops in and we get the first introduction of the Bat Boys, who are Cassian and Azriel, and they are called such because they look like big bats, aka hot tanned men with wings.
Oh, you're calling them Bat Boys. Okay.
The Bat Boys.
Yeah.
And they're like outside the window. They're like, she sees them outside like the glass, and they're like, Rhys, open up. And she's like Evie, our cat. Like anytime she hears someone, she's like, what? Immediately sprints away.
It reminds me of Daryl from Adventures in Babysitting, like the friend, like knocking on the window.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, let me in. And the kid's like, no, my crush is here. Like, go away. He's like, no, let me in. I got the Playboy. Like, I got the goods.
Yeah, it's very much that.
Yeah.
So she runs upstairs and she meets the shadow ladies, the shadow twins.
Like her servants / friends, yeah.
From under the mountain, and they're called Nuala and Carradine. And I just want to know, Sarah J. Maas, what's your obsession with having what's your obsession with having like shadow twins? There's always Throne of Glass also has shadow twins. One of Manon's 13 witch gang are the shadow twins. They're literally just called the Shadows. I don't know whether we ever actually learn their names. They're just the Shadows. Sarah J. Maas, what is the significance of this popping up? If someone has read Crescent City and is listening to this, can you tell me whether there's a shadow twin situation going on in Crescent City too? Because like I feel like this needs to be studied. I haven't seen people unpacking this, but why are there shadow twins in every series? Sarah, explain.
Absolutely. Why not? She came up with a good idea and she's like, might as well juice this for all it's worth.
I mean, listen, that's why there's so many faeries. That's why all of her series are about faeries.
I mean, that's so you can't put that on her.
I know, but I'm saying specifically her like brand of faeries.
Sure.
Anyway,
well, it's very like
the romantic-y faeries. Yeah. Anyway, so she's going out on the street. She's like, whoa, look at this. And she feels the mountains behind her. And this is how you know the mountains are close, because she feels like the tall, spooky mountains behind her. And she's like, I felt their power curl around my legs like a cat looking for attention.
Aww. I ignored it. Very rude, Feyre.
Pet if they don't get a pet cat at some point, missed opportunity.
Oh, also the outfit they give her to wear has knitted gloves that quote match my suede shoes. Had already been stuffed in my pockets. And if matching gloves and shoes isn't like already a fashion rule, like you know the way like men are supposed to match their belt and their shirt and their shoes, like that should be a rule. I'm just gonna put that out there. Anna Wintour, if you're listening.
I feel like I would break that rule every time I went out though. Like
that would be a personal choice.
It would be a personal choice. I'd be a fashion avant-garde person. Yeah, anyway. Then she learns about Moore and Amryn. Amryn is like the short little
super
demon
powerful
gal. She's
Or
like
Rhys's
Alice. If Alice Cullen were possessed by a demon, that's what Amryn is. And she's also like she's also like East Asian coded. That's always how that's always how she's drawn in like fan art and like official like.
Oh, interesting.
And she's like, she said is having like sleek shoulder length black hair, and she's like slight and short. Like she's very East Asian coded.
I just picture her as like a small, like she's, I don't know. I picture like for some reason that she has like a butch lesbian haircut. Like that's I don't
like
know
Alice
why.
Cullen.
Like, I don't no, but not quite. Yeah, but like even more like short. I don't know why. Like
no, it's supposed to be like chin length, like a sleek bob.
Like the word squat doesn't fit. She's like
no
pretty, and I feel like that's like a
slender.
Derogatory. But like no, I just mean like she's like very like small and sturdy.
No, she's just the demon.
Small though.
She is small. She's short. Yeah,
but she's like literally a demon that like came through a portal.
No, like it's like
another world.
Actually
like she didn't start out as a high fae either.
She just like fucked around and found out and then got trapped there. Yeah, she was in the spooky prison, which we'll visit later, probably in next episode. But yeah, so basically Rhys is like, yeah, Amryn is my second and Moore is my third. And Feyre's like, a girl in a position of power? What's going on? And he is like, yeah, what? Like, what? Yeah, they're more powerful than Cassian and Azriel. Cassian and Azriel are like his general and his spy master. Cassian is the friend from Adventures in Babysitting. He's like the happy-go-lucky, like shit-eating grin. And then Azriel is moody goth boy with shadow friends who the whole fandom
Snape if he didn't bully children.
No, the whole fandom simps over Azriel, and every time there's never been a moment when Azriel has been on the page when I've been like, you're not a creep.
Yeah,
like you're
Snape.
Fucking creep. I shouldn't be surprised because the Snape wives existed. So
exactly. No, that wasn't like a super uncommon attitude. Like there's still people who are like, at least like Alan Rickman, like
I just bleh.
Yeah.
If listen, if someone's gonna have to die, I want it to be Azriel. That's all I'm saying.
Wow, bold.
But then again, she has established in the series that anyone that is a main character who dies is just gonna automatically be brought back to life. So like happens a lot every time. Happens to Feyre twice.
Well, I just think it's bold. I was thinking about this book, like you don't die. Like death isn't. I read some like pop science article, like not pop science, I don't know. I read about this like a while ago, but like the concept of death being like instantaneous is like not really, like that there's like a moment when you're dead, and it's like it's just like based on the technology and like the ability that we have. You know what I mean? Like eventually, like we can all agree, like at some like a day, like you're dead, like or like an hour maybe, but like no one's. It really depends. So like it's bold of them to be like she was fully dead instead of like she was brought back from like, like how do you determine?
Well, her neck was snapped.
Well, sure.
By Amarantha. So I feel like she was defo dead.
Well, but like if we developed like a medical technology that could like, you know what I mean?
I don't know. Yeah.
Like that definition.
What's
like
dead?
The fact that she was brought back. I feel like dead means irreversible, and like they did reverse. Like I don't know. I don't know, it's just an interesting like etymology. Like what's the word? Yeah. No, etymology.
Nice little philosophy. Etymology is the history of words.
Yeah, I know. So like the word, like
what dead is
etymological. Like what is that word? Or what?
I thought etymology was etymology.
Like sorry, etymology is not exactly the word I'm looking for. Like what's like the meaning of words? Like
connotate.
No, like the epistological. I don't know. I don't know. That's like
something.
Anyway,
something. Rhys or Feyre, they're having a little spat, and then Feyre accidentally jumps into Rhys's mind because she's super powerful. I just want to say, like, Rhys spends this whole fucking book, like since he first kidnapped her, like gassing her up and being like, yeah, you're so fucking powerful, like you are all the High Lords put together. And I just feel like Feyre really never lives up to that. I'm like, yeah,
Well,
she's
'cause
powerful, but
was
I feel like she's
interesting.
not more powerful than like any other.
Well, yeah, because I thought it was interesting that like she only has like a drop of all of these. So that never really added
Yeah.
up in my head. It's like how does a drop of each one compare to like the bulk? Because it's so small that they don't even notice it missing. So like I just don't
Yeah.
understand how
I
the
don't
like
know.
magnitudes of this stuff works.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, but I thought she could go through his portal or to his like wall shield or whatever because also because of like the bond.
Well, he leaves like a little, like, yes, because of that, because he has her power, and I assume because of the bond, but also because I think he leaves like a little hole open for her, and like she leaves a little hole open for him.
Yeah.
But so she jumps into her mind, she sees herself for the first time, because I guess the spring point doesn't have any like mirrors or anything. And she's like, wow, I really do look like shit. I can't believe nobody at the spring court said anything.
Was concerned.
Like,
yeah.
what the fuck? Like, I look terrible.
They don't care about
and, like,
me.
They literally walk a mile, and she's like, and I'm winded because I have no muscle mass.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
These shoes where I'm from. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And literally when they're going to they're all gonna go to dinner at the House of Wind, which is like technically Rhys's like official house or whatever. But like and the House of Wind, and they're going to go there so she can like meet the inner circle, which is more Amren, Cassian, and Azriel, and like decide whether she wants to help them, because like that's kind of like that's the current question of the day, is Feyre gonna like take an official role in the Night Court? But the House of Wind has 10,000 steps to get up to the top. And Feyre doesn't want to like fly with Rhys to the top, because you can't like winnow, which is like popping in and out of places,
teleporting.
And she's like, well, I can't walk up 10,000 steps. I can barely walk a mile. And I just want to say that like I can walk a mile. Obviously, I can walk more than 1 mile, but I feel like I'm cocky enough. I'm delusional enough to believe that I could walk up 10,000 steps.
Yeah. Counting steps never made sense to me for some reason.
No.
Never understood if you count the top step. Are we counting the transition or are we counting the ledge?
I don't know. I feel like every time you have to lift up your foot.
I don't know why. I just never quite like.
I don't know. Yeah, never really.
But then you see dogs doing it. I'm like, why can't my brain wrap my head around it?
You see dogs counting steps?
Yeah, I've seen a video of like a dog like going up like an unfamiliar staircase, and then like there's like 15 steps in that staircase, but it stops at like the 12th step because it's like, this is how many steps there are in my house. Yeah,
that's so cute.
I know.
You're so stupid.
No, but like also really smart. Like
no,
they can count.
I'm really curious about how Addie and Evie will react when they eventually move to a house with stairs.
They might love them. They'd be like, why?
I mean, cats do love stairs.
Yeah.
They're like, why have you been gatekeeping stairs? I don't understand.
For all we know, they've experienced stairs before. Like, who knows?
That's true. Well, God knows what Addie's been up to in the streets of Philadelphia. Like, yeah. Yeah, so they get up to the top of the House of Wind, and then Cassian, of course, has a shit-eating grin, and he's like, come on, Feyre, we don't bite unless you ask us to.
Of course.
Daryl,
be cool. Be cool for like 2 seconds.
Meanwhile, Azriel's not being cool at all, because Azriel, there's like a alleged like Azriel Cassian Moore love triangle due to the backstory in which Cassian and Moore fucked once, and Azriel has an unrequited crush on her because again he's a fucking creep. And Moore walks in, he sees her, and like, I understand having an unrequited crush. I don't think it automatically makes you a creep to just have a crush on someone. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you can't help sometimes who you have feelings for. But every time Moore enters a room, Azriel gives her a full body scan. Like, he like looks her up and down. He's like, hubba. Like, no, it's been 500 years. This has been going on for 500 years.
I know. I just like, yeah.
No.
No.
Yeah. But we get like the beginnings of everyone backstories at this dinner where they all get to know each other. We get like Illyrian racism lore, which is like the Illyrians are, I don't know, they're just like the like front cavalry to die. No. The other fairies towards Illyrians. They're like Illyrians are just like
the other fairies
animals.
are racist to like everyone. Yeah, you mean the high fae?
But like especially
unclear how the like other which is interesting because they're like kind of the most similar. It's interesting because they have like more. If anything, they have like more powers than. They have wings.
Yeah, the Illyrians have like killing powers. Yeah, whatever. But the Illyrians themselves are misogynistic because they like cut the women's.
God, wings. I really hate that.
That's so sad.
I just that's so sad. And it seems like they could like heal it. Like Rhys like could be like going. That's what I hold against Rhys is that he doesn't go around like healing any like woman who wants it because he has.
I don't know whether he could because he's like
the healing power.
He says. The way he describes it is like a certain cut made in a certain way and left to heal.
Yeah, I just
will like ruin it.
I just feel like he could have.
I just feel like magic exists
or like redo it. And it is gonna happen, right? You told me that it like gets fixed for like that one person.
No,
like the friend, Nista's friend, or whatever.
No, it doesn't get fixed for her.
It will be though.
No,
you told me
maybe. But I'm just saying at the end of this book, Cassian's rings get fucking shredded and somehow like they get fixed. So feels like
that's what I'm saying. It's like ridiculous. That's like it's bold of Rhys to have not like stopped that by now. I guess he tried. Unlike
he allegedly did. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah,
especially because
like
Rhys's mom, he was like, yeah,
that's what
my
I'm
mom
saying.
like loved flying and like did everything she could to stop her period and then finally got it. And like literally as she was about to get her wings clipped, like my dad popped in and was like, you're coming home with me. And then she didn't have her wings clipped because she's now the mate of the High Lord or whatever. So you'd think he would try harder. Just a lot.
Yeah, you're right that like I just remember that like he has like made it not allowed. It's just that like some people in the backwoods like do it. Like the really traditional quote unquote people.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
And especially while Rhys was gone. While Rhys was under the mountain and like not patrolling.
Which is really bold. Wait, because were the Illyrians affected by Amarantha?
Yes. Insofar as she knew they were there. The only group that was like entirely untouched was Velaris. And presumably like the rest of Rhys's court had to stay in Velaris.
Because the Illyrians like don't know about Velaris, right?
I don't know. I forget. There's so many. Who knows about Velaris and who doesn't? I don't know. It's a lot. But Cassian and then the only other thing that happens at this dinner is Feyre decides to work with them, in part because she realized her and Cassian like have a little bonding thing where like she realizes that like Cassian's been hungry too, and she's like, you know what it's like to be hungry, and they have a little.
Because they're really mean to bastards. Goes along with the misogyny.
Yeah, Cassian and Azriel are both bastards.
The Illyrians are,
and like Cassian had to like grow up on the streets basically, and Azriel was like locked in a basement for like 10 years.
Yeah,
so that was horrible. So like everyone has sad dramatic backstories in the inner circle.
And one thing that Feyre's like dressed up because she didn't want to be like the only one underdressed, and she's like, wow, like I think I could have just shown up in my pajamas. Like everyone's like so much more casual. They don't have to like call everyone like by their titles the way that like Tamlin's court is.
Yeah,
like
she calls Cassian Lord Cassian, and he's like,
he laughs. Yeah,
silly goose. Yeah. But she's like, I like you guys. Have a cupcake. And then she's like, I'll help you.
Have a cupcake?
It's a sound, like a TikTok sound.
Okay.
I like you. Have a cupcake. I like you. Have a cupcake.
Oh.
Anyway.
Okay. Absolutely.
Never mind.
Okay.
Anyway, yep. Now she's gonna team up and she has friends.
Oh, and the other thing that like happens when they're talking here is like they're talking about Feyre learning how to fight, and Feyre's like, you don't think it'll send the wrong message? Like me learning how to fight? And then she's like, wow, I'm just now realizing how fucking stupid that sounds. Like,
she's like, what the fuck?
She's like, I think Moore might be my first female friend ever. Like, I thought Ianthe was, but I actually don't think so. I'm just now wondering in quite a worried way. I might have
and I can appreciate Moore being Feyre's first friend, and like I do think that they are our friends, but I also think that Moore will always be more loyal to Rhys than she is. Like all of them will be more loyal to Rhys than they are to Feyre.
Yeah, it's true.
And that creates some fucked up situations in later books, basically.
Yes, she doesn't have anyone that's like loyal to her. What are you gonna do?
What are you
want to
gonna
buy
do?
a sundial?
Time to go to the continent.
Okay. Hey, Allison, where can they find us?
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at We Read It One Night. Twitter at We Read It Podcast. You can email us, wereaditonenight@gmail.com. You can go to the link in the description of this episode and you can buy us a coffee for $5 to help support the podcast. You can also go to our Etsy shop, Evelyn and Adelaide, and support the podcast that way. Or for free, you can leave us a rating and review, and you can do that right now because everyone loves doing things for free and getting a deal. And the deal is that you get the warm and fuzzies of knowing that you supported.
Yay. Godspeed, comrades.
Godspeed.